Hello Tony, it's Craig Milbourne here from Point Recruitment Solutions, specialists in management consulting recruitment and also social media for recruitment as well. Tony, I wanted to come back to you on the question that you posed recently about the use of Twitter and social media within recruitment. And I thought the best way or an interesting way in which to do that might be to use social media itself. So you asked the question, how much is Twitter used by the recruiter community as a point of comparison for data for the research that you're doing yourselves on candidate findings using social media as the medium to apply for jobs, etc. So here we've got my own Twitter page, Craig Milbourne, Director, Point Recruitment. I sent out around 138 tweets. I'm following 1,495 people currently, and I have 733 followers at the moment, and I'm listed in around 14 directories from those individuals. So it's a far cry from where you are yourself at the moment, Tony, because I believe you're about 4,500 followers, but you've been using Twitter for quite some time now. So the question you asked there was, how much are recruiting firms using this medium in our space? So I was actually doing some research into this very thing myself recently, and I compiled a spreadsheet here that I've organized by ranking of Twitter followers, because I think that's the best indicator of how well you're doing on your Twitter account, is how many people are actually following you, paying attention to you and listening and reading to what you're publishing in terms of content. So on the left column, column A, that we have the company name down there. Okay. In column B, we have the number of tweets sent by that company. In column C, we have the number of Twitter users that the company is following. And column D, we have the number of Twitter users that are actually following that company. And just to reiterate, that's the column I've just mentioned in terms of the ranking from largest down to smallest there. And then in column E, one that we're not so interested in right now is the number of directories listed by people following you. So if we look in first position at the moment, it's Corn Ferry. Now this is quite interesting because they've only sent out around 270 tweets. They're only following 78 Twitter users, yet they have 2,475 Twitter followers themselves. Now that's a very good ratio of followers and relative to tweets as well, because it must mean that whatever Corn Ferry are doing, people are still following them, and there must be some content of interest to their readers. So secondly, we've got Robert Half there with 792 tweets, which is, around 3 times the amount of Corn Ferry. They're following around 10 times the amount, about 1,000 individuals, and they've got about 1,700 followers themselves. That's a good balance, because it means that more followers than what you're following is very good, because the ratio that Twitter works within is a ratio of 1.1 to 1. And that applies from 2,000 followers upwards. So if you're following, say, 2,300 Twitter users compared to, say, 1,900 following you, then you run the risk of your account actually being disabled by Twitter because it's too aggressive. So you've got to work within the confines of those ratios, 1.1 to 1. So, for example, CNA, in third here. Now, they've sent a massive amount of tweets, 12,000. That could be automated, possibly, with RSS feeds and things like that. They're following around 1,200 Twitter users, and they're being followed by around 1,160 back as well. So they're sending a lot of tweets, but whatever they're doing is working, because they're keeping a good sort of happy ratio there as well. Then you've got myself down here in, it's around sort of 7th ranking in terms of number of Twitter followers. I've currently got around 728 followers. I'm following actually too many for myself, which is 1,495. I was guilty of doing this before I actually knew what I was doing. I sent out around 135 tweets. So what I'm looking to do at the moment is reduce the number of people that I'm following and increase the number of followers that are interested in what I'm doing. So if you have a look at this, this is my personal list here. On the 2nd of February there, I was following around 1,350 and I had around 406 followers. And what's interesting is these numbers here, just over basically from around the 14th of February, Valentine's Day there. I created a bit of additional love, I think, with my followers, and I've increased that within a week from 443 to 732, which is around 300 followers in a week. Now, my goal is to increase and sustain that ratio of increase, so that's around 1,000, 1,200 followers a month in my targeted niche areas, which would equate to over 14,000 Twitter users per year. So that's the sort of thing I'd be looking to do. Now, it is easier to grow these easier and quicker initially until you hit the 2,000 mark, but beyond that point, it's still achievable to increase as well. Then below myself, in terms of ComsPoint Recruitment Solutions followers, we have some other companies in our space, such as BLT, which pretty good there. You know, they've got around 603 followers. They're following around 357, so it means there's definitely a following interested in the sort of content that they're publishing. And Huxley, there, 6,000, a lot of tweets there. With 303 followers on Twitter, but only following 6 people. So again, there's interest in their content, but only by about 303 people there. Below that mark, really, you can see that a lot of the other consulting firms, going back to your question there, they're not really using Twitter that much. There isn't many followers there. There's very few tweets down here. I mean, there's lots of zeros down here, with the exception of Robert Walters down here, 323. So Robert might be the sort of person that I could assist there in growing his list. And that brings to me what I'm actually doing in social media for recruitment as well. I'm looking at offering a service to build lists, targeted niche lists on Twitter by increments of 150 a month, 250 a month and 350 a month on rate cards. So I'd even beyond that, but initially want to set expectation at a good medium level. So if this is interesting, let me know. It's early days, but I'm finding the whole research definitely topical as well as interesting to my own competitor base. And I'd be interested to see what your comments are. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.